you? I don't see the live link. I know you sent it to us, but it's not showing up. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a lot of news to cover as usual, so make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Now, here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Once again, not matching. The streak is still broken. I'm happy and sad about it at the same time. But, Jackie, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all social media at JRayTheFanatic.
And it's your girl, Britt Johnson. You guys can follow me on social media at IamBrittJohnson. We have like a palette, though. Like a...
Yeah, because I got burgundy in mine.
Yeah, it's kind of like a palette a little.
Sort of.
Wavelength.
Yeah, it's not...
Fall colors. Like, kind of like fall colors.
Right. None of us are wearing like lime green. So it works. Right. Like this is a nice neutral brown. We've got Jackie in her plaid. Britt. Yeah. It looks good. Burgundy. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so how are you guys doing today? It is officially Thursday. So on Friday, we're actually off for the holidays. Do you guys have any plans for the upcoming holiday break?
I'm going to Denver.
Oh, you are? Tell us about Denver first, because I love to know.
I'm going to Denver. I'm going to be there for a while. I never spend New Year's in Denver, though, because even if there's not a pandemic, just the New Year's in Denver compared to LA is just like wah-wah. But I'll be with my family the whole time. So I'm excited. I'm going to get some home-cooked meals. I'm actually going to participate in the cooking this year. Hopefully we all live to tell about it. I'm excited.
Yay. Jackie, I'm expecting some cooking stories from you. You should introduce your family to vegan weekends, too. Let us know how that turns out.
I should. Good idea. Good idea.
Britt, what are you getting up to for the holidays?
So this weekend, you guys, I'm actually leaving tomorrow immediately after the show. I am going to the Grand Canyon, and I will be hiking the Grand Canyon. So excited, but also super nervous because we are going to be starting at like right before the sun rises, and it is supposed to be 20 degrees at that time of morning. So hopefully I don't get hypothermia and like freeze to death out there. But I'm super excited to do it. I've been like wearing my like hiking boots all week with like the hiking socks, just like break them in and make sure my feet, because the worst thing I think on a hiking thing, you could freeze, whatever, but like if your feet hurt, there's no coming, and you still got to hike the rest of it. There's no coming back for that. So I'm doing that. And then from there, we're going to be going to Sedona, and I'll be in Sedona kind of doing like this like healing nature thing. We'll be meditating and doing yoga and hiking and going, I guess Sedona, if you guys don't know, is like a vortex, they say. So it's supposed to have all these like natural healing powers and stuff like that. So I'm going to go and get my mojo right and get my auras together before the new year happens, because 2020 done did it to you, girl. It done did it to you, girl.
Britt, so if I can give you some advice.
I come back right before Christmas. Yeah, I come back right before Christmas, so I'll probably get home for Christmas. Don't know what I'm doing for New Year's. Maybe I'll be in Denver with Jackie.
Maybe, right? I ain't going to be in Denver, but yeah. Let me give you some advice. As the Denver girl who's done a lot of hiking in the cold, make sure of all your body parts, make sure your feet are warm, because there's nothing worse than your feet getting cold, because that will cause your feet to hurt, and then it's numb and it's hard for you to know where to place your feet. So if your whole entire body is cold, but your feet are good, at least you can walk back to where you need to be.
I got these special extra warm like hiking socks, and then I also got these little pad things that you put in your feet that are like heat warmers. So I think I got it.
You got it.
I think
you got it.
Yes.
Okay. You got it.
I actually hiked Zion National Park in the cold, not quite as cold as what you'll be in, Britt, but I put those little foot warmers in my shoes. I wore really thick socks, and that definitely helped. So you guys both sound like you're having fun holiday plans. I'm just driving down to San Diego this weekend. I've been actually quarantining. I haven't been going anywhere for the last several days. I just want to make sure I stay COVID free for my family, but I'm so excited to be reunited with my dogs and my childhood home. It's been a year since I've been home, so I am thrilled about it. Yeah, I can't wait. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And the New Year is still working it out. I'll probably just see my best friend, but that's pretty much it, you guys. But now let's get into some news. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets because it appears that Will Barton is headed for the bench. So he did come off the bench in yesterday's preseason game against the Trailblazers, but he is really insisting, digging his feet into the ground, that he is a starter. He said, "I am a starter. I have no plans on being a sixth man. I have no desire to be that." So he told all of this to The Athletic. On Wednesday night, instead of starting the game on the floor, he came into the game with the second unit. The bench of the Nuggets would look really strong, really explosive, giving them another reliable scorer to relieve some of the starters. And he very clearly does not want to stay a six-man or a bench player. So I feel like he's doing what we've seen LeVar do, where, he's trying to speak it into existence. He's acting as if it's already happening, which I subscribe to that mentality 100%. But in this situation, and then hearing what I'm about to tell you, that the coach responded to that, it's a little bit it becomes a little bit comical. So Mike Malone responded, had some tough love for Will. He said, "My job isn't to keep anybody happy. If I wanted to keep people happy, I would sell ice cream for a living. I have to make tough decisions, and as we move forward to that season opener, the tough decisions will have to be made." So to me, it sounds like he has no plans on starting Will. I don't know how this is going to go over with him, but let's discuss this. Britt, do you feel that players have a right to demand that they get a starting role and talk about it like this with the media?
You have a right to work hard, and if you get that starting spot, you get the starting spot. But I think to say that you are supposed to be in a place, yes, it's good to believe that you are this great player and to work at it and stuff like that. But if the coach doesn't think you're there, he doesn't think you're there. And it's very interesting because the Denver Nuggets are, I think they were the number 3 seed going into the playoffs this last year. They're a really good team. We obviously saw them come back several times during the bubble to, advance to that Western Conference Finals. They beat my Clippers, and they're a young team, and I get how Will could feel like that because he's probably one of the older guys on the team. He's like 29 or 30. So I get how he could feel like he should be starting and he should be in a position to be a leader on that squad. But if the coach doesn't think that you are in a position to where they would win best with you starting, then don't start. Be that sixth man, come off that bench. And to my Clippers point, Lou Will and Trez were very good six men because they loved coming off the bench and doing whatever they could to help the team win. The end goal here is we want to win. It's not about you just saying you're in the starting 5 or not. It's about what can I do to best help my team win? And obviously if the coach thinks that's you coming off the bench, and some guys come off the bench and are great. A lot of times, Eric Gordon with the Houston Rockets, he's been a starter his whole life. He was drafted, I think, 7th or 8th overall, originally to my Clippers, went to the Pelicans, and he was always a starter. He went to Houston, and he was supposed to be a starter going into Houston, but obviously the switch-ups and things that they did over the last couple years, he started moving into more of a 6-man role or coming off the bench or whatever, and still playing 25 plus minutes a game because he was really the guy in the fourth quarter. They would rest Eric and then put him in late third, early fourth quarter, and he would stay in the game the whole entire time because he's a shooter and he could literally go in and just start make 19, 20 points or 25 points if they needed him to do it in that moment. So some guys are the starters, yes, and you could be a starter on another team, but if your best position is to come off the bench and you could still, that doesn't mean you don't get a lot of minutes. that doesn't mean anything like that. It's just that's how the coach wants to utilize you. So I think it's weird to hear because the Denver Nuggets could be one of those teams that could come out of the Western Conference very easily. Like we saw what they did last year, and they are a young team, so they're just going to continue to get better and better. So I think it's weird that he is even thinking about himself right now and not thinking about whatever's best for the team.
I think for a lot of athletes, it can be difficult for them to separate the team's success with their own individual recognition and success. So I think that's probably his mind just is not in the right spot right now. But I'm with you. I feel like all of these players should try to kind of put their egos aside and focus on winning, but that's a lot easier said than done. So Jackie, can you think of other examples of teams who would benefit with a bench or from a bench player starting?
I mean, it's just a bench player starting. I mean, it just depends on the team. You know what I mean? Like, technically, Trez could have started on any other team aside from the Clippers, but just like Britt said, he knew his role. And so just because you're coming off the bench, I think that's a convoluted question, because just because you're coming off the bench, that doesn't mean you don't have the talent to be a starter. That doesn't mean that if you weren't on another team, you wouldn't be a starter. What it means is we have a full entire team. People should really think about how deep the Warriors bench was for a while. The reason why people feared the Warriors wasn't just because of Klay and Steph, although yes, that's why you feared them. But if they were on the bench, you were not off the hook. People are still gonna score. So that's a deep question, because I think people sometimes the bench is needed. Your starters need to get a rest, and you can't lose the lead while your starters are resting. So if you can go out there and handle your job like you're a starter, then you are still valuable to your team. That's why that sixth man award is a big deal, because it means we're recognizing that you're dope enough to start if you really wanted to on another team, but you do what you do for us and you're valuable for us. So it's unfortunate that he feels this way, and I get it, because he was a starter for 2 seasons and then he had that knee injury. Now he's like, hold up. This isn't my role. This isn't what I do. I'm the guy. And you could have been, but you had this knee injury that caused us to have to readjust. The adjustment that we made is working, and we're not going to adjust back just because you were a starter before. This is working right now. We have something that we can really build on, and you can help us build on that. We're not saying that you're not good. We're just saying help us build with this plan that we have right now that is working. And it sounds very Kyrie-like to me, to be honest with you, just to not know. Like, if it sounds like Kyrie talking to KD, like, hey, I want you to give me all the post-ups. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, my guy, that's not how it works. Your role is this. The second he's more content in his role, he'll excel in that role. And then who knows? Maybe he can earn his starting job back. I don't know if he should, like I said, because that plan that they have right now is working. But be content in your role, be the best you can in your role, and then see what comes next. And if your role means that your team, like Britt said, is coming out of the Western Conference, then your role is dope. And congratulations to you for playing that part very, very well. You know, and he really should start to look at it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's value in that role for sure. So he just has to be able to be the one to see it and recognize what he's bringing to the table with that. So do you guys feel that Will Barton needs to take a seat and realize that the decision is up to the coach, and this is kind of what you sign up for when you join a professional sports team? Britt, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play your role, and like I get like what Jackie said, like he, did have a stint where he started and, coming off the bench. I remember Matt Barnes talking about him starting his whole entire career and then going to the Warriors after the Kings had released him and getting picked up by the Warriors and not starting anymore and feeling like kind of a little weird because he's always started here, but then being in a place like, okay, I'm on a team that's deep, and so if that means that I got to come off the bench, that's a great thing, because that means my team is deep and so good that we have a chance to win something. So you have to look at it like coming off the bench is not necessarily a bad thing. That shows just how good your team really is. Like he plays, a 2-3. So I'm just like thinking, hello, you guys have a bunch of shooters on your team already. So you guys have a good chance to win. You guys have defenders on your team as well. Like you guys almost have probably closer to one of the more complete teams in this league. Like you guys didn't have to do a lot of hunting and searching during free agency and stuff this year because y'all's team is good. You guys have a good squad. And I think it's been working how it is, and you guys just got to keep rolling with it, and believe in the coach and believe that that's where you will shine best at. And to Jackie's point too, that does not mean that you're going to be riding the bench. You can still come off and still have a 19 to 20 something minute game. You can still end up starting in situations. Not every team is going to have the same lineup that's needed to go against a certain team. So maybe there will be situations if you take your role as a guy coming off the bench and do it right, and the coach sees certain things. There might be certain games where the coach might be like, no, I need Will to start this one because he's the only one that can take on this guy and this, that, and the third. So I think that if he truly takes this in and goes out there and plays the best 22 minutes he can when he's in the game, then this is a long season. Anything could happen. We've seen players get benched and new guys start all the time, and depending on what team you're playing and what defense or offense they run and yada, 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 like you'll have different people coming in and out, especially if your squad is as deep as it is. So I think he just needs to chill out. It's early. Season hasn't even started yet.
Right. Like, start this mess now.
Yeah. Jackie, is there anything you want to add?
No, I totally agree with Britt, and I just think that he's missing a real opportunity here. Number one, like I said, he is coming off of that knee injury. There's less pressure on him right now, to be honest, because you're coming off the bench. We talk about all the time people going out there and doing stuff to re-aggravate that injury. I think this is the best position for him to be in. And again, it's your job. Your boss said this is your position. You don't get to go to your boss and say, no, I want this position. Your boss has spoken, and that's just what it is. And I think that don't take the focus away. Like what Britt said, the team is very, very young. I just hate when teams start a season like this. We should not be talking about how you and your feelings because you don't get to play the position you want. The position you want has been decided, whether you like it or not. Now let's come together as a team. Let's not put any kind of negative energy in the media for them to be like, oh, is there a problem in Denver? Don't do that. We're just about to start the season. We're trying to get further than we got last time. We were this Cinderella story that everybody was behind last season. Let's take it further. But we can't do that if we got to cater to your ego. You know what I mean? Everybody stay in their lane. Let's run it back as far as we can. So I think it's unfortunate that he's taking this position. But I hope that the team can kind of rally around him and say it's not because we don't value you. It's just this is where we need you right now.
Right. And then one final question for both of you. And Jackie, I'd like to hear from you first on this one. So we just saw how someone like James Harden, I know they're on two totally different levels. The caliber is not even the same. But when things didn't go his way, he jets off to Atlanta and Las Vegas to party and kind of, puts his middle finger up to the franchise, which we're actually talking about a little bit more in the post-up, I know. So that's to come, you guys. Stay tuned for that. But say Will doesn't get the starting position that he wants. Do you think that can cause chemistry issues within the team? Do you think he's going to be able to sit back and say, all right, fine, I accept my role, and if this is how we're going to win, I'm okay with it?
He better figure something out because he's not James Harden. You haven't been the league's leading scorer 3 seasons in a row. We don't have time for your shenanigans. We want you to be here. We want you to do your best, but we're not going to just kind of turn the other cheek as you jet off and go give baby $100,000 purse. You know what I mean? That's not what we're going to do. So you better get it together. I don't think he'll do that. I think this is just one of those moments where he's just in his feelings. I do think that the Nuggets do have chemistry, so I think his teammates are going to rally around him. I think this will die off by next week. We won't be here to talk about it because we'll be on vacation, but I think by next week this will die out. Yep. Maybe I'll run into him in Denver. While I'm in Denver, I'll be like, come here, Will, let me talk to you. Let me put your mask on, have a seat. Let's have a conversation about this. You're doing too much. Do better so I have something else to talk about on the Fumble when we come back at the top of the year. So if I run into him, I'll fix it. I promise.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, you guys, we're actually at the end of Need to Know News. So Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes, I can. I am excited to get into this post-up. We've had a really good post-up this week. A lot of fun things are happening. This one is probably one of my favorites this week, and I know Britt is going to be surprised by that because there's not too many moments in my life personally where I'm like, I kind of like Kawhi. I'm not that person. That's just not who I am. But leave it to Jimmy Kimmel to find a way to make me say, I'm kind of digging Kawhi. He's kind of cool. And if you do not feel the same way, if you're like me and you're kind of like, with Kawhi, if you can see this and still feel the same way, then your heart is 3 sizes too small. You need some help. Roll that beautiful Kawhi footage.
All right. You're 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And how much of that do you attribute to your enormous hands? Do you have your hands with you right now? May we see them?
Yeah, let me find them. Here.
Okay. Like when you were a baby, did you
Him
have
joking is
hands
hilarious.
the size of a regular man at that time?
I mean, as a baby, I wouldn't know, but like my mom told me when I came out, everybody looked at my hands and said they were so big, but I think I get them from my dad.
Yeah. Are there disadvantages to having huge hands like that?
Definitely. You know, I don't notice until I see either my friends or someone else doing an activity, and you know, I'm like, I can't do that. Like putting my hands in my own pockets, like sometimes it's just very too small. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing you live in Southern California.
Keep going on and on.
Wait a minute, is that why you left Toronto? Because your hands were cold?
Oh man, I couldn't find gloves to fit me.
All right.
See, that is hilarious. Britt, do you have gloves that fit you? I know your hands are not as big as Kawhi, but since you're out there about to be in the cold, do you have gloves that fit you? And can your hands fit in your pockets?
Yes, my hands are super tiny, actually. I have gloves. I loved this moment, though, but to think, as a Toronto Raptors fan right now, all y'all had to do was get the man some gloves that fit, and he might have stayed in Toronto. He might have stayed if y'all would have just got him some gloves that fit. Like, this was so, like, stop it. Like, I already was excited. Like, so we don't get to see, like, a ton of moments of Kawhi at all. And even though he has these things where he says he's a fun guy, we don't get to see it because he doesn't have social media. And so last year we got to see it a little bit because of Serge Ibaka when they were teammates with the Toronto Raptors, not this year, but the year before. And now Serge is with the Clippers. So I was like, oh, I'm excited because we already, at the first interview that Serge had, he already started talking about the things with Kawhi, like when Kawhi hit him up about, listen, bro, are you coming or not, you know? Right. And I never in my wildest dreams, so I was excited about the Serge. I'm like, oh, we're going to get more Kawhi moments. Never thought we would see Kawhi Leonard on Jimmy Kimmel, or we would see the inside of Kawhi's house. Kawhi, I was like looking in the background, like, what's going on back there? Like, because we've never seen anything of him, you know? Right. Like, so to be like in a piece of his home and like see him just there, like, I just love him. He's just such a sweet guy.
I loved hearing him say that he couldn't put his hands in his pockets, because one of the things I hate on men is when you see that big bulge from their wallet in their pocket. So if Kawhi's hands can't go in his pocket, that means he can't put that wallet in his pocket. I knew where you was going. That came out way. It sounded better in my head. That went way better in my head. So never mind on that. Look, if you thought that was funny, look how basic he describes how Secret Santa goes with the NBA teams, and specifically with the Clippers. It's hilarious.
Is that how it goes?
Usually we'll put the last name or a jersey number inside a hat, pass it around the room, and then whoever number or name you get, that's who you have to buy a gift for.
What's the maximum you can spend? Like $1 million on the gift?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, some of the rookies don't have that type of money. So
right.
We limit it at $100.
That's so basic. Like that's how every Secret Santa works. Why?
He was like, really giving us some juice. He's like, oh, I'm getting inside information now.
They don't know. They don't know how Secret Santa works.
$100. And then how he said, like, the $1 million thing, he's like, nah, some of the rookies don't got that kind of money. Like, he would spend that amount if the rookies did have that kind of money.
Hey, it's like the people in the background are laughing, and he's like, nah, that's not what we do. Like, he doesn't even, usually other people's laughing makes you laugh, but Kawhi's like, no, it's $100. I love it. This is a Kawhi moment for me that made me go, okay, I see why Britt be checking for him. I love Kawhi in this moment. Very Christmassy, and I love the Christmas sweater. It wasn't an ugly sweater. It was just a Christmas sweater. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this next one, because while that one got the happy spirit and Christmas juices rolling, this next one is probably just going to piss you off because it's James Harden. And that's just what James Harden does right now. So I know people get annoyed when reporters ask questions that we consider stupid. I do not think that this line of questioning is stupid. I think that James Harden's answers are stupid, but let's see what you guys think. Take a listen.
James, what was the point that you were trying to get across when you went to Atlanta and Vegas when training camp was starting?
I was just training.
What were you training for?
The start of the NBA season.
How did going to Atlanta and Vegas help you there when the Rockets were starting training camp in Houston?
Just my personal trainers.
I love this reporter. He was like, what were you training for? Are the strip clubs about to have some Olympics or something? What were you training for? I mean, him to say personal trainers. Oh my God, James. Okay, but of course, Twitter had a little bit of a field day with this. One user let us see what his personal trainers look like, and I feel like he's thinking what I was thinking. The strippers are training him so he can, make it rain a little bit better. But a lot of users thought that the line of questioning from the reporter was wrong. And I don't agree with that. This user says the audacity to even think to question this man on what he does in his own time. Technically, it wasn't supposed to be his own time. He was supposed to be in Houston, but carry on. Some members of the media need to take a step back and check their privilege at the door. Just because you can ask doesn't mean you always should. Devin, I'm going to go to you. I completely disagree with this. I think you definitely press him on this, especially when he says, I was training. For what?
So, okay, yes, I agree with you 100%. I feel like the reporter had every right to ask those questions only because the videos and the footage and the pictures of him out at these clubs when training camp was happening for the Rockets were made public. They were posted in a public forum. So then, as soon as those kinds of images make their way onto social media, I mean, you're kind of making it everybody's business. Sure, James Harden is entitled to do what he wants to do in his own time, but I'm not mad about these questions at all. And like I said, when that video was playing, James Harden is lying. If he needed his personal trainers, he could have flown him out to Houston. Come on. I feel like it's better at this point. Just own up to it. Say like, yeah, I wasn't ready for the season to start. And, be honest about it, but don't try and downplay it and pretend like it was something else.
Yeah, I would have respected him more if he said, hey, I got strippers on salary. I had to go out there and make sure that they was okay. Just make it funny. Make everyone laugh, but don't tell this bold-faced lie that you was out there training. James, see, this is annoying to me because I've been checking for you for a long time and you out here embarrassing me. I need you to do better, my guy, because you're making me look bad. All right, let's get to this next one. Because $45 million a year, if I was getting paid $45 million a year, I would move back to Denver. And if y'all haven't been here long enough to know, y'all know I go to visit Denver. I don't ever want to live in Denver again, but I would for $45 million a year. So I don't know if I entirely believe Giannis on the reasons why he is staying, but it's Giannis, and he's just so likable and believable. So we're going to discuss and see if you guys believe him like I do when he says why he really is staying in Milwaukee.
Walking around with my jersey, that was the first time, I saw a kid like walking with my jersey. I saw it in Milwaukee when I was 18 years old, and that feeling, it gets stuck with you, and obviously I've seen like people decide to like leave and they burn their jersey. I've seen that in the past, and I didn't want that to happen to me. I didn't want to see kids burning my jersey and all that, blah blah blah. But it's always nice. It's always good to see kids wear my jerseys. Good that kids.
Giannis, I love you. I do. I love your voice. I love when you laugh. I love your smile. I don't think you were MVP twice, but once I'll give you. But I don't believe you stayed there for the kids. Britt, I'm gonna go to you. It sounds believable because it's coming from Giannis. I believe he could sell ice to an Eskimo because he's just likable like that. But do you believe it was the kids or the $45 million?
No, I believe that it's part of the reason, like, and it's the sentimental thing behind it, because obviously, like, Giannis didn't ever play in the United States prior. Like, he wasn't like this high school or like college superstar. He was, in his home country or whatever. So he didn't come out here until he was drafted when he was 18 years old. And so obviously the way he connects to the NBA and to basketball here probably is that moment when he saw a kid in America wearing his jersey, when before a lot of people didn't know who he was. Like, a lot of these other players, they played either at Duke or UNC or Kentucky or something, and they have other affiliations that kind of connect them. They grew up here. They, we know like James Harden and Russ from LA and Dames from the Bay, and and so they have other connections to different stuff. And so people always grew up knowing who these guys were. And for that moment, Giannis is like, somebody knows who I am here? Like, what? Like, imagine you going to this foreign place and somebody coming up like, are you Jackie the Fumble? And like, you're in like freaking, I don't know, like Germany or something, you would probably have this like now connection to like Germany and like, oh my gosh, I love these German people know who I am. I love them, So
Yeah.
I get like how he could feel like that, and how he could really feel like Milwaukee is his home, because it's the only place he's been here in America, and it's where he was first received by Americans. So I can kind of get it. I don't think it's necessarily for the kids, but like I get the sentimental connection he has to Milwaukee, because that's where it all started for him here in America.
Okay, I'll co-sign on that. I still think the $45 million per year helps, though.
Oh,
but
of course.
Right. Okay, so look, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Bleacher is counting on that, because they like, we're just gonna post this picture and we ain't gonna put no caption on it. We just gonna post this picture of AD and LeBron sitting on the sidelines after playing just a few minutes with their knees completely iced up. Just no words, just a picture. I don't like it. You should have said something, context, because people are gonna come clown them. And clown them they did. I'm actually not mad at this one, just because we know how much money LeBron spends on his physical health and trainers and his nutritionists a year. So this one's actually accurate. You trying to shade him, but he does actually take really good care of his body, so I'm not mad at this one. But this next one is unnecessary. We are not going to be sleeping on the bench like this. This is a practice, guys. This isn't even a real game. This is practice. And then finally, this last one is spot on. You knew I had to find the one that was going to support my narrative of, LeBron James. So I found this one, and says, I wish we could stop hating on players for no reason, specifically LeBron. I'm just going to add that in there. I'm not the biggest fan of LeBron. It doesn't mean I hate on him. He's a great guy on and off the court. Let's stop these debates and just appreciate greatness. I agree with that. This is unnecessary. Although, Bleacher, this is all your fault. You just put that up there with no caption on it. So you just let the shade brigade open the funnels, the gates, and just have at it. It was kind of quite funny just to see them, because they do look like two old men. But they do ice together. We saw them in the parking lot in the blow-up tubs. That's what they do together. So stop it. This next one, though, I think is hilarious. I actually posted this on our stories. You guys should be following the Fumble Sports on Instagram, because you'll see stuff like this. And we told you how LeVar was mad that the Pistons let Jello go. So the Pistons decided to make a tribute to him. The question is if it's real or not. We're going to discuss that in a second. So take a look at this tribute, though. If y'all can... The shade.
Oh, my God.
The shade. So this is, the question was, everyone was like, oh, Detroit would never post it. They would never post it. So I went and I looked and I matched it up. It's definitely their logo. It's not misspelled in any way. They have the blue check mark. And then a bunch of people were on Detroit's Twitter saying, hey, we saw you post this and then you deleted it. So what do we think, Fumble fam? Britt, I'm going to start with you. Is it real, or is this just the best fake shade post of all time?
That has to be real, right? Like, and I cannot believe, oh my gosh, the shade, the pettiness. Like, The Pistons knew. Now it's like, okay, they knew what they were doing the whole time. They just signed him for a little jokey joke, like this was some dare to do or something like that. Like, let's get trending on social media real quick. So let's sign Jello. Like,
whoever posted this used to work for Wendy's. I don't know if y'all follow. I don't know if y'all follow Wendy's on Twitter, but this person definitely used to work for Wendy's because the way that Wendy's be shading people is ridiculous.
yes,
This person came from Wendy's.
they
I'm
hired
telling
their
you right now.
they hired their social media manager for sure.
Devin, what do you think? Real or fake?
Oh God, I feel like it's real, and since
I do too.
if it is real, I love it. Like, I am so here for this. This is so shady and so savage. I just wish we could see LeVar's response to it, because I'm sure he would have a lot of words.
Right.
This is wrong.
Real-
This is somebody's life, y'all.
Yeah,
Stop. You guys
it's so
are evil.
bad.
You guys are both evil.
That was fantastic. I don't care if it was real or if it was fake. Whoever made it is the hero.
Imagine like me getting like a job at like ESPN or something. So excited. ESPN tells me they're hiring me. I go in for my first day. I'm just like learning stuff in the back, and then like they fire me and then post a thing on their account talking about all the best moments of Brit. I couldn't like stop. Like, that's how bad it is, because like he wants to play in the NBA. It's terrible. It's so sad.
Oh,
It's
God.
cruel.
When I tell you,
it's cruel, but it's clever. That's what I have to say. Like, it's awful, but we have to acknowledge that took some thought, and that was really, really clever.
all it was missing was that song they used to play on American Idol when people got kicked off. That "So You Had a Bad Day." Remember that song? If they'd have put that on there,
yeah.
I really would have been here for this.
All right, I really can't.
I think people in the chat they hope it's real. Like me and Devin think it's probably real. I hope it's real. I don't care either way. The shade was fantastic. All right, let's get into this next one because I like this. We're going from shade to giving back to the community and being a good person. I like both aspects of it. But Andrew Wiggins, he's going to keep us engaged all season as he is giving back. He posted this on his Instagram, and he says, "I'll be donating $22 for every point I score this season towards supporting underprivileged children who face barriers in participating in organized sports." I love this because we know that participation in organized sports helps kids, not just as far as, playing the game, but it helps them throughout their lives and learning different lessons. So I love this. This is actually his third year doing this. Last season, he averaged 19.4 points. So for math, because I'm an English major and I had to make it easy for myself. So I just had to round that up to 20. And so that would be $440 per game, a 72 game season. He's going to potentially donate $31,680 to local charities and kids. I think this is a wonderful, beautiful thing. It keeps people involved. It raises awareness. And hopefully other people will think about donating something like that as well. So I'm super excited about that one. This next one, I'm going to be honest for 2 seconds because I forgot that Tiger Woods had children. When I think about his previous marriage, I think about a lot of stuff, but I don't think about the kids. So I was glad to see Tiger Woods out there with his son in an amazing father-son moment, and he's putting his son on the same path that his dad put him on, and I am definitely here for it. Take a look. Almost got the swing down and everything. I like that. Well done, Tiger. Because like I said, when I think about Tiger and his previous marriage, it's not what I think. So I love to see this moment in time for him. This next one, my friend whom I talked to about this, if you're in the chat, go ahead and say you were right, I was wrong. It doesn't happen that often. I will own it. But we had a conversation a while ago where I was telling them about all the glitches that we had on the Fumble, and they were like, "Hey, I bet you all these commentators are doing, they're calling the game from home." I'm like, "No way. Devin gets frozen. I just fall off the screen sometime. There's no way they're going to make sure these commentators are at the game because they don't want Spectrum to invade their feed and have a problem. There's no way." But Kevin Harlan out here is showing that I was 100% wrong. Take a look.
We ended the season. Now here 72 days later, we're starting a very quick turnaround for the NBA and its players.
The only thing that would have made this better for me is if he had the suit on the top and sweatpants on the bottom or something like that. That would have made this so much better for me. Britt, did you automatically assume they were doing this from home, or am I the lone gunman that was like, nah, they're not going to risk that Spectrum feed messing this up for them? They're going to be at the game.
I knew they were going to probably do it from home, and they probably also said the best internet connection. They probably
don't use Spectrum.
For the highest speed, whatever they need to do, send them a hotspot, whatever they need to make sure they do it. Because I remember when I used to be, I mean, when you go live from events and stuff like that, we had a live kit thing. The live would connect to, it was like a backpack, honestly. Like before, we used to have these giant live trucks that had to put up this giant antenna to connect or whatever. But now you literally have a live backpack and you can just turn on the backpack and it has like this insane speed of the best internet connection, and it hooks up to the station and you're good to go. So I definitely have seen a lot of them do it from home. He actually has a whole thing because he has like us with these, but his is way longer than ours. Obviously, to cover up the whole face. Ours like half of my forehead and that's it. It's cool though. But I got a big head, y'all. I got a big head, so I'm cover up all that space.
Oh my God, Britt about to get a job with Wendy's, y'all. I'm telling y'all, she about to run their social media.
But
oh my goodness,
yeah, some of them though just be having their backgrounds. Like I've seen so many like on air people with just like, I remember when The View first went on air and they just have like their, I don't know, you see their Christmas tree and their cat in the background or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know, Britt. You know, I was on the island for 2 years as a news reporter, and when we went live, it was like, this is just, and then the person in the studio, so we're having live problems every single time. I never got a full live out. We didn't have any backpacks. We had this like big, huge thing that looked like a giant air conditioner that was on the back of a pickup truck. So that's why I was like, nah, they're going to be at the game.
My station was brand new, so I got all the perks. It was the first news station ever. Like, they never make a new news station. It had, like, new everything. Like, it was like, when I got there, they were still building the station. So everything was brand new. We got all the latest technology. So, but usually you don't get that. You get a camera that's, like, 300 years old. You get, like, a mic that doesn't work. Like, you have to hold it, like, a certain angle. Flag don't stick on anymore. It's like
no, so you have to put your hand right there. Oh man, the stories I can tell you. Yeah, that was terrible, but it was good times. It was good times. All right, that's all I got for the post up. I'm gonna get into this what we not gonna do moment, because this one to me is a lot of fun. It is completely hilarious, but I am a lone gunman on this one. Not many people are agreeing with me. I'm going to try to get through this without laughing because I do think it's hilarious, but I understand that not a lot of people do. But Dominic Foxworth, he is a former cornerback. He used to play for the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's a guest analyst on ESPN. And he went on, I forget the name of the podcast, but he went on this podcast and they were talking about Josh Allen. And he was telling why he doesn't like Josh Allen. And the funny thing is, I don't like Josh Allen either. And I don't have a legitimate reason as to why I don't like Josh Allen. But after hearing what Dominic said, I was like, that's got to be it. Because technically, Josh Allen is not bad. He's, sixth in the league in passing. And the Bills are leading the AFC East right now at 10-3. I don't have a legit reason not to like this man. But Dominic has an idea as to why he doesn't like him. And I'm co-signing on it. Take a listen to what he said.
Are not based on Josh Allen. It's based on the people that are defending Josh Allen. I would be 100% lying if I said that when Josh does something dumb, a little part of me doesn't get happy. It is not because I want Josh to succeed. It's because the people who are telling me that Josh is the second coming and Josh is better than everybody are people with American flags and dogs and skull and crossbones and their Abbeys. And then if you go just take a dip into their tweet history, it's some really concerning retweets and likes. I can't tell you, it's not about Josh. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that. And I think we all know what he was saying. And if you're familiar with the Buffalo area, this shouldn't be a shocking statement. I thought he was spot on with it. But Twitter did not agree. This first user said, I don't care if, well, let me go to this one. No, let me go to this other one first because this one is long. He says, I don't care if he gets canceled. Ignorant comments of a fan base from an unknown player turned unknown show host is less about his character and more about the character of ESPN. Next time the Bills are on ESPN, I'll listen to the radio and never buy from their advertisers. Okay, they're still going to, bless you. They're still going to get the rating from you from watching, but, good try. And then this next one said what a lot of people on Twitter were saying was, he said, damn, this has to be the most effed up sports take I've ever heard. Is he insinuating that all Bulls fans are racist, or am I reading this wrong? You're reading it a little wrong. He's not insinuating that all Buffalo Bills fans are racist. That's not what he's insinuating, but he's saying a big chunk of them are. And so, again, when you consider the Buffalo area, not a huge stretch to me. But again, I understand why a lot of people are pissed off. You just have never been to Buffalo if you really feel that way, which is why this is funny to me. But then here comes Clay Travis. Clay Travis is definitely one of those people with racist tendencies. He's had that for a long time. If you follow him, you're probably following him because you have some of those same tendencies. And he phrased it in a way that makes it something that it's not. He makes it about the flag when that's not what he was saying. So he says, ESPN analyst says he roots for Bills quarterback Josh Allen to fail because Allen's supporters are the kind of guys who have American flags on their profile pics. How dare they? That's okay. First of all, let's be clear. Let's address the elephant in the room or the flag in the room. The KKK uses the American flag as their symbol. Skinheads use the American flag as their symbol. MAGA uses the American flag as their symbol. There are several hate groups, alt-right groups, flat-out racist groups that use the American flag as their symbol. So let's not pretend that it doesn't have a double meaning here. Let's not do that. But Clay making about it something like the flag triggered some people. So Jordan Poyer, he was the first player to comment on this, and he said, hold up, bruh. We're not just letting this slide, yeah? ESPN, this is what we now on in the sports world. We got to do better, my brother, because this ain't it. Now, of course, he was responding to what Clay Travis had posted on his Twitter. I highly doubt that he actually listened to the entire podcast because I feel like if you did, you wouldn't have arrived at that space. But then Jonathan responds to it as well, and he goes, hey, Dominic Foxworth, you are talking about the fans that just raised over $700,000 for hospitals during a pandemic. People do say the corniest things to try to get ahead. So let's address that elephant in the room, shall we? Because that comment is hilarious to me. Because you can literally raise money for a hospital, you can raise money for a good cause, while simultaneously thinking that Daniel Prude, who was an unarmed black man who was naked and handcuffed and murdered by Buffalo police, you can think something like that does not warrant police reform, which is a lot of the people that Dominic is talking about. Those things can exist on the same plane, and clearly they do. So what we're not going to do is pretend that Dominic doesn't have a valid point. In truth, it's probably the validity of the situation that has people so pissed off. But I'm glad that he hasn't apologized, and I hope he keeps the same energy, because if he stays on what he tweeted out, I doubt he apologizes anytime soon. He responded to Jordan's post by saying, nobody I respect has taken this seriously. So I've been ignoring it, and getting taken out of context kind of comes with my job, so I haven't been tripping, but I respect you and people in your building and the brothers and the things that you guys do, but this is disingenuous BS. And then he followed that up with, feel free to DM me, listen to the full podcast, or ignore this foolishness altogether and get back to balling. Best of luck to you and my new favorite quarterback. I love the shade at the end. That was beautiful. I love it. I am definitely here for it. What we're not going to do is pretend like this man doesn't have a very valid point. If you don't know he has a valid point, Google is your friend. You can look up a lot of things that happen in Buffalo that are like, okay. So just do your own research. I'm a new fan of you, Dominic. I love it. That's all I got for what we're not going to do. Devin, let me get you up here on the screen right now. Because I was like, is that your new mic? I was like, your mic just morphed into some odd looking thing.
You know what? I'm going to keep it here and pretend it's a mic. Okay.
All right, that'll work. All right, because now it's time for Brit's Takes.
Brit's Takes.
All right, guys, it is time for Brit's Take, and this we are doing a praise report. A lot of times I do prayer requests, what I want people to do and what I think they should do, but it's praise report time because this one is beautiful. It's epic. It is every racist thing that we just heard in Jackie's. It is the complete opposite of it, and I am so happy to announce this on the Fumble today. So Willie Mays, who is a 24-time All-Star, played a few years for the Birmingham Black Barons before joining the New York, then San Francisco Giants, is getting to add some hits to his MLB record. Josh Gibson will probably now have some major league records himself as one of the greatest sluggers ever in the National Negro League, thanks to this huge announcement. So, you guys, MLB just announced that they will be getting all of the Negro League records, anything that happened, and counting them part of the Major League. So anything that happened in the Negro League is the same as the Major Leagues now. So the MLB, tried to do this back in 1969 when this was probably 20 years after the Negro League went away. The Negro League existed because Black players were not allowed to play in Major League Baseball. So they had to have the National Negro League, which started in 1920. This year we celebrated the 100 years of it. MLB did a huge thing. We know we did speak about Drew Brees actually donating a lot of money to help get that televised and all of that kind of stuff, which was awesome. One of the things he had to do in order to get the people back. But it is literally amazing. The MLB has been for years trying to do stuff to kind of redeem themselves from what happened with when they basically told Black players they weren't allowed to play in the MLBs and all of this stuff, and which is why they created their own league, the National Negro League. This year actually, back in January, when I went to the Kansas City Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens AFC Championship game. It was in Kansas City. The National Negro Museum is in Kansas City, so I was fortunate enough to go visit it. It was so amazing, gave me chills, brought tears to my eyes. It was the coolest thing to walk through there and see in how everything started. And obviously my favorite National Negro League team is the Kansas City Monarchs. That is where Jackie Robinson played. Satchel Paige also played there for time of his career. He played on a ton of other teams too, but it was really amazing to go there. It's a lot of history, a lot of great baseball players that a lot of people don't even know about because the Negro League was separate from Major League. So for Major League Baseball to come now and announce that they will be including all the National Negro League records, awards, anything into Major League Baseball is huge. Rob Manfred, who is the commissioner for the MLB, he said, all of us who love baseball have long known that the Negro Leagues produced many of our game's best players, innovations, and triumphs against a backdrop of injustice. We are now grateful to count the players of the Negro Leagues where they belong as major leaguers within the official historical record. This is huge. We know, a lot of you guys don't know, but what I did learn at the National Negro League Museum is sliding actually started in the Negro Leagues because they were not, they weren't getting views, they weren't whatever. And, a lot of the Black guys had more swag. They were starting to do these like fun, innovative, cool ways of catching and in pitching, different stuff. So sliding was one of their things to get people excited instead of just, running to the bases and whatever. They would slide in, especially guys that would hit home runs and stuff like that. And it was boring to just see them walk around the bases. They would do cool stuff like sliding and stuff in the bases. Started in the Negro League. So that's one of the things he's talking about on innovations, different ways of pitching, different ways of batting, all of this kind of stuff, making it cool to, do these like catches like over the fence and all this kind of stuff that all started in the National Negro League, which is so awesome. Obviously, some of these players, or most of these players, have since passed on, like Satchel Paige. He died at 75 back in the 80s, I believe. But he is a pitching king. Like, he is one of the greatest pitchers. He started in the National Negro League in 1926, and he played the majority of his career in the National Negro League. And then he ended up joining the Cleveland Indians. Which is now not going to be the Cleveland Indians. I don't know if you guys got that memo. The Cleveland Indians will be changing their name as well, just like the Washington football team will be changed their name. So that was the first team he played for in the major. He didn't even play there till like 1948 or 49. So he played literally almost 20 or over 20 years in the National Negro League before he went to the majors, and then played another 10 years in the major leagues. Jackie Robinson, also another guy who played in the National Negro League. He played with Satchel Paige on the Kansas City Monarchs. He was, as we know, the first African-American player to play in the MLB league in 1947. Not first ever. So we do acknowledge there was a stint in the 1800s where they let, I believe it was 3 or 4 black players play in the major leagues. But as far as the revamp of the major leagues went, he is the first player that we recognize that played in what we now know as Major League Baseball. But he joined the major leagues in 1947. The National Negro League ended, like I told you, it started in 1920 and it ended in 1948. So he almost played a good chunk of his career. And he already has stuff in the record books for Major League Baseball. Now that all Satchel Paige's stuff from the 20 years that he played on top of the 10 years in the major leagues, all of that stuff is now going to be added to Major League Baseball. This is going to change so many records. So many Major League players are now going to have records that they lose possibly, because now there's going to be these African-American players that have come in that actually had a better record than them, or had, a better hitting percentage or slugging percentage, whatever it is, than these guys pitching records. And they're going to be able to take over these spots, which are well deserving because they played baseball just like everybody else did at a professional level, but their professional baseball career was not recognized, and they had to be secluded from Major League Baseball because they were black. So this is very deserving. It is so amazing. My favorite one, which I'm kind of really sad about, Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson was a major league, or he never played in the major leagues. He is noted in as, like I said before, as one of the greatest sluggers ever to play in the Negro League. But he actually died at 35. He died at 35 years old in 1947, which is the same year that Jackie Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers and became the first black player to play in the MLBs. And he could have very well, these guys were all old too when they went to the Major League Baseball, and they still had long careers. So for Josh Gibson to die at 35, never getting a chance to play in Major League Baseball, a lot of people don't even know who he is. His records have literally just been vanished and whatever into just this little box that is the National Negro League Museum. Now these records are going to be in the MLB historical record books. And it is so amazing. It literally, I kind of want to start crying now because I think it's so dope that after all this time, because again, we are celebrating 100 years of since the National Negro League started in 1920, and we're just now today having this moment where all of the triumphs and amazing things and records broken that these black players achieved back now actually finally going to be recognized. Guys like Willie Mays are still alive. He's going to be able to see these moments. He was, yes, a 24-time All-Star in the MLBs, but he did more than that even before he joined the MLBs. He already has are in the record books now for MLBs, but it's just going to get even better now that his Negro League accolades get to be put in there. So I am so excited about this. I think it's the dopest thing in the world. I had to share this praise report. Ladies, do you guys have anything that you want to say or add? I know we're about to end the show, but I just I had to make sure I shared that today.
I'm always a skeptic. I love it. I think it's great, but it's 100 years late. And I don't think that the MLB is doing this because it's the right thing to do, or they finally got this epiphany. I think they're doing it because that's the sign of the times, and it's a money grab, and it's the thing that's socially acceptable to do. But you know, it's a good thing for those players who are alive to see it. But there's so many who aren't, and they deserve their moment in time too. But the MLB didn't do that for them. So it is what it is. It doesn't make my heart smile the way that it does yours, because I still see the MLB for who they are. But it's cool.
Even their families too get to experience this moment. Like their kids and stuff or grandkids are going to get to like have this moment where their dad gets to be recognized in a way that they had been fighting to be recognized for so long. So I think I knew Jackie was going to be the pessimist in the room. But
man, you don't get to do one good thing and then I think, oh, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's cool. You just don't get to do one good thing and I'll be like, oh my God, they're amazing. No, you're not. I still see you, MLB, but good job.
Keep trying, MLB. Keep trying.
Right.
Britt, I'm with you. I think that this is like a pretty monumental moment for the MLB. I definitely see what Jackie is saying. This is long overdue, but I'm glad to see that they're looking into the past and trying to right a wrong. So I'm willing to like stand by and applaud the MLB for doing this. But you guys, let's wrap up the show for the day. Make sure you subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends, leave a comment below, wash your hands, wear a mask, do all the things. We're going to be back again at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.